Hey everybody, Mr. Regan here. And now that we've kind of begun diving into our key concepts, we're now going to be looking at answering some questions about our simulator that we're going to need to apply those key concepts to. The simulator is going to represent different collisions or ways in which forces are applied to different objects, and how all of these different things with force, mass, and velocity will help us kind of predict or infer about what's going on in the simulator. So long story short, the questions you're about to answer are going to be done in the simulator. What we do in the simulator is meant to represent real world events or real world collisions. And when we get into the simulator questions, we're going to be looking at answering them back here on the page. So we're going to watch the video where I'm going to be showing you the simulator. I'm going to ask you a question while we're in that simulator. You're going to come back here. You're going to complete the answer section. So that would be this section here. And it's going to be a multiple choice question. So you're going to have not only a question asked of you, but you're going to have options to choose from, some option A, B, and C. And you're going to put your answer in there. Okay. After you put your answer in there, you'll continue on with the video. We'll break down kind of what we're looking at, and then you'll complete the survey section here to kind of wrap up everything. And that will be how we complete this task number 5 and kind of some of the other tasks as we get going. So let's go ahead and take a look at this first one and really break down what we're looking at. So here's what we need to know. I had built and run a simulation here with 3 different objects A, B, and C. We're at the Analyze page, and what you need to know is object A, B, and C all, if you notice, have the same mass of 1 kilogram. Now, object A, B, and C had different velocities at the start. If you notice, object A, B, and C all had a different start velocity. Object A started with a velocity of 3. Object B started with a velocity of 5, and object C started with no velocity, so 0 velocity. Now, if you notice, okay, each of the objects are now traveling to the right, and their current velocity had changed after a force was applied. Now, we don't necessarily know the direction of the force. We don't know how much force was applied, but we know object A started with a velocity of 3, and its velocity changed to 5. Object B was in a collision, or a force was applied, and it went from 5 to 3. Object C had a start velocity of 0, now it has a start velocity of 2. So we have a very unique situation here in the simulation. So let's look at the question that's being asked of us. So when we look at the simulation, we look at our data here, and kind of what we see. The question that you guys need to answer is, which object experienced the largest strength force when the force was applied in the simulator? And how do you know? So we know that a force was applied to change its velocity, okay? And the question is, which one had the largest force applied, and how do you know? So here are your options for A, B, and C. For option A, okay, object B had the most or largest force applied in the simulator. And how I know this is because it takes more force to speed up an object, okay? Object A and B, because they have opposite speeds when the force was applied. You'll notice that in here. Or is it answer C? Object A, B, and C all experience the same amount of force because their speeds all change the same amount. So right now, examine your 3 options, pause the video, and go ahead and put your answer in the answer section. After you're done pausing the video and putting your answer, hit play to kind of see the answer here. I'll wait. All right. Did you put your answer, A, B, and C? Let's take a look. So, answer A. Object B, because it takes more force to speed up an object. Well, object B is actually slowing down, if you notice. It starts from 5 and it goes to 3, and it changed into -2. So when this object had a force applied, whether it was a collision, whether it's a specific force, it changed from 5 to 3 and started to slow down. So even though it's traveling to the right, the force was applied in the opposite direction. So that actually doesn't make any sense. Answer B, object A and B, because they have opposite speeds when the force was applied. That is true. Object A and B both have opposite speeds. So if you notice, it goes from 3 to 5 and from 5 to 3. But we know whenever a force is applied, whenever an object changes its velocity, mass is an important factor. And we know that these objects all have the same mass. So imagine these are like all the same object. So this doesn't quite make sense, because a larger object would need a larger force to get the same amount of change. I'll say that one more time. A larger object would need a larger force to get the same change as maybe a smaller object. So really the only logical answer is C. Object A, B, and C all experience the same amount of force because their speed all changes the same. And you can see that. 3 to 5, it changed by 2 meters per second. 5 to 3, same thing. And object C, same thing, 2. When you have an object or set of objects that all have the same mass, okay, if we apply different forces in different directions, okay, if we see the same change in velocity, it means we applied the same amount of force. So at this point, ask yourself, does that make sense? Have I seen that in simulations before? Have I experienced that when we broke down our different experiments and such? And does that make sense based on the key concepts that I've looked at? Now we're going to dive back into the practice survey. You're going to put your X here, here, or here based on your answer. Did you get the correct answer? And do you understand why it's correct? Did you get the question wrong, but you now understand kind of what you did wrong or why the other answer I explained is correct? Did you get the wrong answer and still don't understand? Obviously, you'd put your X there. So that's how we're going to break down the questions. This is how we're going to present them. And that's how you're going to go ahead and complete the answer section and the survey. If you have questions, reach out to me. If you put your X in either the yellow or the red section, please let me know. Understand that's okay. We're helping get prepared for our summative. If you have questions, reach out. Otherwise, good luck with the next set of questions.